I'm Danielle, your host of the Abridged to Motherhood podcast, the place where moms like you learn to thrive, not just survive through pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. I'm a birth and postpartum doula and a mom of two who's been where you are. My first pregnancy was filled with so much excitement, but it was also marked by stress, anxiety, and fear of the unknown. I thought I had everything mapped out, but when postpartum hit, I realized how unprepared I was for the physical, emotional, and mental toll of motherhood. It was overwhelming, lonely, and nothing like I imagined. When I found out I was pregnant again, I knew I needed to approach things differently. I made it my mission to not only prepare for postpartum, but to prioritize myself in the process. That shift changed everything. Now I'm here to help you do the same. Whether you're navigating your first pregnancy, feeling buried under endless advice, or struggling to figure out what you actually need for postpartum, this podcast is your safe space. You'll find practical tips, honest conversations, and expert insights to help you feel informed, supported, and empowered through every stage of motherhood. If you're ready to feel confident, prepared, and truly supported in your motherhood journey, stick around. This is for you. Hey friends, welcome back to the Abridged to Motherhood podcast. Today is an episode that I think is super important for moms who are currently pregnant to hear. However, if you are already postpartum, it is never too late to have this conversation. And today we're talking about setting postpartum expectations. And really, we are focusing on the people that are closest to us here. So your spouse, your closest family and friends, and just learning how to be really open in sharing what your expectations are, whether you're just coming home with that new baby and wanting to set those expectations early, or you're further along in your postpartum journey and you're recognizing that your expectations are continually being unmet because you haven't communicated them. This episode is going to help you address them. And if I am being completely honest, in my first postpartum journey, I kept so many of these thoughts to myself. I felt like the expectation was that I should know as the mother what to do, and everyone was looking to me to make those decisions. But really, I needed to set the expectation that I needed help and to communicate what exactly I needed to my husband and to my mom, especially those two, because they were with me so much of that time. And whoever those people are to you, I want you to really think about how you want to address these conversations, and you can do it in such a kind and loving way. And your partner can help you to address these conversations with his side of the family, or with maybe even your side of the family if it's becoming a topic that's really difficult for you to get through with them for whatever reason. But you initiating that conversation with your spouse can then let them know the expectation is on them to help you communicate these goals. We cannot expect our partner or loved ones to magically know how to support us without a conversation. That's just a setup for frustration on all sides. So instead of waiting until the baby arrives and everything's hitting at once, let's talk about how to start the conversation now during pregnancy. The earlier, the better. And again, if you are already in it, that's okay. You can start by being honest right now and maybe what's coming up in your baby's life, and you are going to feel so much more supported, seen, and less like you're carrying the whole thing alone. We're going to break it down with 5 lessons to guide the conversation before the chaos begins. So lesson number 1 is to start the conversation early, like before the 3rd trimester if you can. You don't need a full-blown postpartum plan written up in stone at this point, but you do want to start talking about what life might look like after the baby comes. And I know we never know for sure, but the earlier that you start these types of conversations, the more space you have to give yourselves time to think about it. And then when things change or need to change throughout your baby's first year of life, you've already opened the door to these conversations and you have it without the pressure of all of the sleepless nights, the baby crying at 3 a.m., and the just general haze of that newborn life. So some questions to start that conversation can be, what do you think our days are going to look like in the beginning? How do you want to make sure that we're both getting rest? What do you think I'm going to need most in those first few weeks? How are we going to divvy up the chores in the house? How are we going to make sure that we both feel heard and seen and important when the baby is taking up so much of our attention? Lesson number 2, be honest about what you need. I know it can be so awkward at first, and there's so much about postpartum that is so emotional and raw and sometimes lonely, but the more honestly you can express what you think you're going to need and then what you need in that moment, whether that's physical help, emotional check-ins, time for yourself, the easier it's going to be for those closest to you to show up in a way that actually helps. Even if you're not 100% sure what that support is going to look like yet, starting from a place of honesty lays the foundation for deeper communication later on. Try phrases like, I think once the baby comes, I might need some more emotional reassurance than usual. Can you tell me that I'm doing a good job? Or when you see me doing something that really surprises you or makes you recognize how much I'm doing, could you tell me? Another great one is, if I seem overwhelmed, could you check in on me and ask me what I need, not just what the baby needs? It would really mean a lot to me. Or start with a conversation. Can we talk about how you can support me when I'm recovering after having the baby? And if you're already postpartum, you can start with that question. Hey, can we talk about how you can support me right now with taking care of myself while going through the exhaustion of a sleep regression? Some phrases you might use if you are already in the thick of postpartum would be, hey, I really need you to tell me that I'm doing a good job. I am having these intrusive thoughts that I am such a bad mom and that I don't know what I'm doing. And every time that you see me doing something with the baby and the baby's smiling at me and you are so proud of me, when you verbalize that, it makes me feel so good. Lesson number 3, clarify your support system. Start identifying those people who are your people and how you want them to help before the baby arrives. This helps avoid the scramble later on and makes it easier to set boundaries or delegate tasks. Who is that responsible type A friend who will be all over getting the meal train set up for you and sending it out to all your close friends and family? Who's going to be your go-to for emotional support? As much as we love our spouses, they did not just give birth. We need other women who understand what we're going through. Who's on diaper duty when you are completely tapped out? And don't be afraid to really clarify boundaries with friends and family. Hey, right now in these first couple of weeks, we'd really like short visits. Can we keep them to, under an hour? And please let us know if and when you would like to stop over. No, just dropping in right now. Or, hey, could you please check in before bringing advice or opinions? Just ask us if we're ready to hear it right now. Oftentimes, I find that families are very open to these suggestions, and it helps your family and friends to know exactly what you need and kind of takes the guesswork out of, should I text to say I want to come by and visit? Should I not? Should I give them space? Instead, you've made it very clear, hey, we'd love to see you, but we just want to keep the visit short. They know exactly what that looks like then. Lesson number 4, set realistic expectations for your physical and emotional recovery. It's easy to underestimate what your recovery is going to look like, especially if you're hearing messages like, oh, you're going to be back to your normal self by 6 weeks. For some women, that may be true, but 6 weeks is not the magic number. You may feel great after a week or 2. You may feel much better at 6 months. Some women say it takes them a full year to really feel like themselves. So start talking about what you actually expect from yourself. Are you going to be okay if the house isn't perfectly picked up? What are you going to do in those situations? Are you going to seek help from your partner? Are you going to ask your mother-in-law to come by and do the dishes for you? Are you going to hire a cleaner if it's going to completely overwhelm you? What's your plan for healing? Are you going to make an appointment with a pelvic floor therapist right away? Are you going to do mental health check-ins with your partner to make sure that you're not experiencing postpartum depression and anxiety? Do you have a counselor lined up who you could talk to if things do go south and you need that extra support? How will you communicate when you're not okay? Is there going to be a secret code word? Are you going to send the bat signal out to a certain friend, to your spouse, to the family as a whole? What are you comfortable with? Think about how you're going to let people in on the reality you're preparing for so that they can support you accordingly. And lesson number 5, revisit the conversation regularly, because this isn't just a one and done kind of deal. As your baby grows, your needs, emotions, and priorities are going to shift, and so should your conversations. Maybe you're going back to work at 6 weeks or 12 weeks. Maybe you are staying home now forever and you're not going back to work, and you did not expect to feel the way that you do. And maybe what worked in week 2 isn't going to feel good by month 3, and that's okay. So make a habit of checking in with those close people. What's working for us right now? What's starting to feel too heavy? Is there anything that we need to adjust? What can we say no to? Keep the lines of communication open and give yourself both room to grow and adapt without resentment building in the background. The bottom line is that postpartum support doesn't just happen. We have to make it happen. And it starts with intentional conversations before the baby arrives and continues with honest, flexible communication along the way. It is never too late to start these conversations. It's just a reminder to you that your voice, your needs, and your experience matter just as much as the baby's. And the more that you have these conversations now, the more supported you're going to feel later. And if you want help walking through what to say and how to prep your support team ahead of time, I want you to download my free guide, The New Mom Reset. It is packed with simple steps to help you feel like yourself again, with way less guesswork and a lot more support. There is an entire section about how to communicate your needs, conversation starters, prompts to get these conversations going for you, because you are not meant to do this alone. I really hope this podcast episode and the guide help you to have these somewhat difficult conversations and to just really get clear on communicating your needs with those that matter to you most. Thanks so much for tuning in week after week. I am so thankful to all of you for continuing to listen, and I really hope that these episodes are making you feel seen, loved, and supported, and I can't wait to talk to you all next week. Thanks so much for tuning in to the A Bridge to Motherhood podcast. I'm so glad you are here today. If you loved this episode, I'd be so grateful if you could leave a review for the podcast on whatever platform you're listening on. Share it with a friend or snap a screenshot and tag me on social media. If you decide to leave me a review, go to abridgetomotherhood.com/review. That link is also in the show notes so that I can send you a little gift in the mail. Your support helps other moms to find the podcast, and it truly means the world to me. Remember, your motherhood journey deserves your care and attention. Until next time, keep showing up for yourself, mama, and don't worry, I'm here to help every step of the way. See you soon.